Noble People's International. Now you be Baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV. I hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV. I hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV. I hello,
Ayato, Noble People's International Magazine, unveiling Noble TV and Noble Radio worldwide.
Èrò ẹ wá wo ń tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International láyé òbí bàbá wọn. Èròyà ẹ wá wo ń tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International àìdè lóore. Noble People's International láyé òbí bàbá Noble Radio.
I am John Chinode, hosting you on this afternoon's program. And of course, I remember this particular sports show is designated to focus more on the local league in Africa. Hey, a lot of people out there that I socialize with have been telling me that not so much is being done with Africans in the diaspora in terms of promoting the local African League. A majority of Africans in the diaspora focus more on the strong European leagues. But hey, Noble TV and Noble Radio are exceptional of that. We are here to save both the Western leagues and, of course, the African leagues. But in particular, Noble Radio TV, in particular, again, the Sports Corner here with myself, here to focus and give you information of what's happening in the local league in Africa. Remember, the local league in Africa comes a long way in the sense that most African countries got independence about the late 50s. We're talking of Ghana, 1957. Nigeria in the late 60s, Southern African countries like Zambia, 1964, we're talking of Angola in 1975. Various African countries gained their independence in the mid-60s. So African football has come a long way. Not to forget to mention that the furthest an African country has gone in the World Cup has been in the quarterfinals. African countries have reached the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Ghana came very close, but it was Asamoah Gyan's penalty miss that gave one of the biggest upsets in African football, in the sense that we were playing in South Africa on our own soil. But then, of course, African football gets stronger by strength to strength. We've seen Nigeria, we've seen Ghana, we've seen Cameroon, the indomitable Lions, we've seen Morocco reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup. I don't know if so many of you are like me. I'm quite very passionate about watching the AFCON, Africa Cup of Nations, which is a tournament that's held in Africa every 24 months, which has a qualifiers group, and then you've got a team of 16. This tournament is hosted by the Confederation of African Football, CAF. It's a tournament that's also been ongoing for not more than 50 years. So African football is exactly rising. Well, the other question, of course, that pops into so many people's heads, when I'm out here in London, especially in the summer like now, enjoying a pint of Guinness, when Africans sometimes tend to talk about corruption, I switch to football and say, what is it that will get Africa to win the World Cup? Is it African players playing in European leagues, or is it Africans themselves strengthening their leagues? Well, I'm John Chinode on the Sports Corner. Coming up on this afternoon's show. We'll look at what's happening inside Nigerian football, inside the Nigerian league. So much has been happening in, of course, the 3 or 4 times African champions, World Cup finalists. And as well, we'll be looking at inside Egypt as well, what the Egyptian League has to say, especially the last weekend, where we had top teams in the Egyptian League battling out with each other. Don't forget, Egypt has won the Africa Cup of Nations more than any other African country. Is it what I said before, that the Egyptian League has strengthened their league? I remember they won the Africa Cup of Nations simply with 9 or 8 players. The majority of players were actually playing in the local league. And if you look at Spain as well, Spain won the World Cup with the majority of players playing in the Spanish league. So we will be touching on the Egyptian league, which is a very exciting league to watch at the moment in Africa. It's among the top 5 leagues to watch in Africa, and has got one of the richest clubs in Africa as well. Well, as well, we move to Kenya as well, East Africa as well, where we look at Kenya as well. What's happening with Kenya's football league? What are the results? What are the ins and outs of Kenyan football? If you only thought Kenya produces athletes in the Olympics, no, Kenya does have football. I remember Elachi, one of the best strikers I saw in the 2006 Africa Cup of Nations. What's happened to that striker? We've got Wanyama, if I've pronounced that correctly. You know, African names sometimes you need to have so many full stops, so question marks before you pronounce their names. And as well, we move as well inside Southern Africa. We look at Zambia as well, what's been happening in the Zambian football league. So much has been happening, not to forget that Zambia won its first Africa Cup of Nations against a strong Ivory Coast led by what is it called again? Drogba, that's right, Drogba and Yaya Toure. Remember I mentioned earlier that sometimes we think winning the World Cup or performing better in football, you have to play in Western leagues. But there you go, Zambia won the Africa Cup of Nations in 2012 with only Emmanuel Mayuka playing at top level. And as well, we look at the CAF, Confederation of African Football. This is an equivalent of the Champions League. So many matches will be played this weekend. There was a lot of upsets a fortnight ago when so many big teams that have won the tournament before were either held to a 0-0 or beaten. One of them, of course, which I cannot forget to mention, is TP Mazembe of Congo, were held as well to a 0-0 draw with Sundowns. And as well, we talked to a gentleman later on during the course of the Sports Corner show. We'll be speaking to David Doherty. David Doherty founded the Nigerian Under-17 based here in the UK, and the purpose of forming that team was to try and contribute to the national team in Nigeria. So more or less, it's the Under-17 is a feeding team to the Nigerian Under-17, and so far they're called the Young Eaglets. They've been doing very well. Now, of course, here in the UK, on the local front, we will be talking as well to a representative of the Africa Cup of Nations UK. This is an annual tournament held here in the UK among African countries that are living here in the UK, or is it, we call it diaspora, some word I learned when I came to the UK. Before I used to just say, well, it's Africans living abroad. So now we've got this new word, Africans in diaspora. We don't know what the next word will be in the next 10 to 20 years. But anyway, let's get back to football. The Africa Cup UK will be holding its opening matches this coming Saturday at Hackney Marshalls, with over 15 countries entering this year, and not to forget that Brazil as well has been invited as a guest team. The Africa Cup of Nations UK has been ongoing since 2009 with the Ugandan founder Dennis who was also awarded with an MBE from Prince William for his hard work into grassroots football. So the Africa Cup of Nations UK is not just a kickabout, it's a very, very organized tournament that is accredited by the FA, and it's got the Essex Referees Association that come to ref these matches. It's had the support of the West Ham Mayor and the police force as well, the Metropolitan Police Force, and it's had big organizations sponsoring the tournament like Ethiopian Airlines, Western Union, and other big organizations. Well, so for now, I'll take a quick break, and when I come back, the Sports Corner continues. Stay where you are. How many minutes? With me, John Chinode. Well, let's have a look at the football results in Nigeria. Well, I'll start off with Kano Pillars, who beat MFMFC to the tune of 3-1. And in another encounter, Sunshine Stars beat Gombe to the tune of 2-1. And Niger Tornadoes as well were held to a 0-0 draw by Enugu Rangers. El Kanemi beat Remo Stars 2-0 at home. And of course, Nasarawa beat Enyimba, another strong side in the Nigerian league, to the tune of 1-0. Aqua beat Katasina United by the tune of 2-0. And Shooting Stars as well beat Bukola Saraki as well 2-0. Abia Warriors as well beat Plateau to the tune of 2-1. And Ifeni Uba as well were held to a 0-0 draw with by Wiki. Of course, those were the results played on the 24th of June in the Nigerian league. Are you a supporter of the Nigerian league? Who is what's your favorite team? If you're watching us this afternoon, is it Kano, Sunshine Stars, Enyimba, or Enugu Rangers? Please give us a call and share with us your thoughts, or just call in to say hi and tell us what we can do in the continent to improve our local league. Talking of the Nigerian league, on the top of the league right now, we've got Plateau. Plateau are on top of the league, and El Kaneni are second. MFM FC are third, and fourth on the league is Aqua, and fifth is Lobby. Sixth we've got Efenyi Uba, and seventh we've got Enyimba. And on eighth position we've got Nasarawa, and on ninth we've got Kano, and on 10th we've got Niger. And 10th, we've got Tornadoes. And on the 11th position, we've got Abia Warriors. And 12th position, we've got Bukola Saraki. And on the 13th position, we've got Rivers United. Of course, that's the Nigerian league. That's the latest, of course, that's been happening in the Nigerian league in the past the past weekend's just gone, where you expected, from the research that I carried out, you expected teams like Enyimba and Enugu Rangers, who have got vast experience in playing international football, especially in the CAF Champions League. Well, I would like to now try and call in our caller, David Doherty of the Nigerian Young Eaglets. Just trying to see here on my iPad if I could get hold of him. David, of course, is close friends with Joseph Yobi, the former Nigerian captain. He's got vast experience in understanding the Nigerian league. Hello, David.
Hello.
Hello, hi. Welcome to the program. You are on Sports Corner on Noble Radio TV.
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, before we talk about what you're doing, the Nigerian league at the minute, I was just reading out the results that, the likes of Kano Pillars, Enugu Rangers, for example, Enugu Rangers were held to a nil-nil draw to Niger Tornadoes. Tell us more, who are Niger Tornadoes? We've heard of Enugu Rangers. Who are Niger Tornadoes?
1 second. Niger Tornadoes they've been around for a while though, and I think if you look at the league table, there's so many teams that springs up, the likes of Lobby Stars, the FC Ifeanyi, they've all been around for not too long, but Niger Tornadoes has been a very long time club side in Nigeria. During the days of proper football in the league, in terms of clubs coming up, in the likes of Shooting Stars and all them clubs. I think they've been around for a while, and they've been doing very well. They are 10th on the league table as I'm talking to you, and hopefully we know, maybe they will finish in the first half and don't face the relegation battle, because we have 20 teams in the league table.
All right, brilliant. Now, I've got another question, of course. We've seen players from Nigeria, like the Kanos, one of your best friends, Joseph Yobe, playing for Everton. We've seen Daniel Amokachi. But then, Nigeria, you expect the league to be an equivalent of the Egyptian league or the South African league. What can be done to improve and strengthen the league of Nigeria? Is it paying the players better, or there are other factors that are hiding?
I think a lot needs to be done, but presently Nigerian Premier League NPFL is being managed by a company called the League Management Company, and I believe they're doing very well in the past two to 3 years. This all started in 2013, which is just 4 years old at present. And I think they've actually managed to, bring some life into the league. Fans are coming to games, to watch games, in various states where the games are being played. And also, I think they've actually improved in terms of communication, but I think more still needs to be done in terms of facilities, welfare, players. Payment by clubs, and this has to do with club side, and this is one of the things that we believe the Nigerian Professional Football League can do in terms of making sure that clubs abide to the rules and regulation and ensure they do what is best for their players that are actually doing the job on the pitch, aside from the publicity and the marketing side of the game or of the league itself. I think a lot still needs to be done when you look at league in Nigeria, but I can say to you that there has been a massive improvement from where it was, before the Nigerian Premier League Football League took charge.
All right, you've just mentioned there, I think a lot of people I speak to who are at your capacity, they say facilities. What sort of facilities do we need in Africa and Nigeria as well in particular? What are the facilities that can enhance especially grassroots football and the senior players as well, playing for teams like Enugu Rangers or Gombe or MFM-FC?
MFM, yes, and I think what you just mentioned is if you look at most of the teams in the league, some of them might not have a better training facilities, because if you're looking at a professional side, we're looking at the Premier League side in Nigeria. So it should be at a standard whereby players would want to stay in the league if everything is well, put in place. In terms of pitch, at grassroots is zero. I won't lie to you. It's one of the topics that we've been talking on our own program as well, to actually put it to the ears of those that have their authorities, those that are managing football, for them to actually do something, and then probably corporate bodies, because if all these things are not in place, corporate bodies won't come in and sponsor grassroots development, even at the elite level. So pitch is one of the most important thing. Pitch where people can train, stadium where teams can actually play their games should be at a quality standard. So all these things are the things that will attract, even foreigners to come into our league, to come and play. Like you see in countries like South Africa, you see Nigerians go in there to play, Ugandans, everyone are there to play in there. It's because of the quality of the league. They always been managed, the welfare facilities, in terms of money, payments, and medical. These are the things you have to look at. Medical is very, very important, because if there's any incident that has to do with players being collapsed and everything, we've seen it in the league, and there hasn't been a first aid service for this player. So all these things are the things that needs to be put together in terms of welfare for me to have a better structure for these players. It's all about structure. If everything is put in place, plans and everything, I think this will actually work well with the league itself. But I think we're getting there, little by little. We keep talking about it, we keep putting it on there, in media, for those that are in the hand of managing the league, for them to actually do something to reduce this risk.
All right. Just still on Nigeria. Lastly, I mean, somebody once mentioned to me that where you see there is no Nigerian in the world, then just know there is no money, because Nigerians are very motivating to make money. We've seen the likes of Aliko Dangote, and we've seen other big millionaires in Nigeria. Why aren't they not investing in buying a club? Because we've got so many billionaires in dollars in Nigeria. And why do you think they're not investing into a club?
I think it's like you've just actually touched one of the things that we mentioned also just this week on Monday, that we actually spoke about the rich people, those that actually have money that can actually own a club, even in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria. So you'll find out that most of them are not doing so. But and you can see that most of them actually have shares or even bought a seat in Premier League club side. Look at, for example, Manchester United. A seat is being bought by the owner of Glow. We could testify that Glow is actually doing a lot to support sports and football, especially in Nigeria. But can they go further and own a club? Even if it is to own a club, even in Premier League or even the Premier League in Nigeria, will actually go more. It will go far, a long way, to help develop grassroots. And this is the question we've been asking: why are these rich ones not investing? Maybe they haven't seen what will actually bring in a return on investment for them in terms of the quality, and maybe they don't trust the system. And these are the things that needs to be done. Can they believe in the system? Can they see the people at the aim of the league? For them to put out some kind of transparency and accountability of what is coming in and what is going out. And these are the things that will attract sponsors and investors, people to invest in the league. So I think with time, and the noise that we're putting out there, the work that we're putting out there, the approach that we're putting out there, I think we will start seeing some of these big name billionaires invested in football back home and also outside the shores of Africa.
Right, okay. From, of course, Africa, let's look at, quickly before we let you off, you've founded the Young Eaglets here in the United Kingdom, the first of its kind. And I think your initiative now has motivated countries like Morocco and Zimbabwe as well that have set up their under-17s, of course, trying to avoid the young Africans who are born here to play for European countries rather than play for their fathers or mothers' countries. I mean, I'm sure there are viewers there listening that would love their sons to come and play for young Nigeria under 17, which you've done very well. You play against teams like Birmingham under 17. You've played a lot of Premiership and very competitive teams. So tell us more about the under 17, what you've achieved, and of course how you started this initiative.
I think one of the things that actually inspired, they brought about the initiative is the lack of we losing our talents to other countries. And most of us here, not just Nigerians, all African countries, we have our kids that are born in this country, and you find out that most of them are either playing for England, Germany, Italy, and so on. So we thought, I mean, we needed to do something to curb this, because you can't stop it. It's definitely going to happen. But can we reduce it? Absolutely, yes, we can. But how can we do that? Is we actually trying to do what is best to attract these young people back home. And that is what we've been campaigning, and that's what we've been appealing, to the Nigerian Football Federation, that listen, until we tend to do something in a proper way based on merit, because we always emphasize on merit, because merit is one thing. There's another thing for you to pick a player based on merit, and there's another thing to pick a player based on godfatherism, or he's got somebody that will pay for the young man to play in the national team. And those things are the things that deter all these young people. Those are the things that makes these young people look away from Nigeria. They want to see a Nigerian national side, young people are playing based on selection, that they can actually do it. And that's what we thought, and arrive on this initiative, creating Team Nigeria UK and International. We've managed to open an outlet in US, which is Team Nigeria US. We're going to be working with various partners in there, whereby we scout talent as well in the US and the MLS, and we've been doing that even while we're in the UK, and our colleagues out there are doing the same thing. We've managed to take 22 young people of Nigerian descent in various academies to play against the national team. Just something in 2015, just to show to the people out there, to the administrators, to the people at the end of NFF, that this is just one-tenth of the qualities that we've got out there that are of Nigerian descent. And this cuts across other countries as well. Like you mentioned, we started and everyone has actually taken something on board. I can remember Zimbabwe, approaching and asking us for how we actually managed to put up a partnership with our football federation. We said, this is how we did it. This is how we do it. And they realize this is something for them on a long-term purpose. We're not just looking at the short term, we're looking at the long term, because it's going to benefit the country that we're actually working for, which is Nigeria. The whole aim is for we to better and improve our grassroots development. And how can we do so? Is by inclusion and engaging those out there. And that's what we've been preaching. Let's try and invite some of these young people. They are scattered across Premier League clubs, Championship, European League, Bundesliga, anywhere, mention anywhere that you can find Nigeria. And we've said it that in the next 5 years, there will be a stage in the Premier League, all the names you'll be seeing are just going to be Nigerians, and maybe a few African countries as well, coming in, on board. And you can see it's happening. You can see in the England national team on the 20 that just won the World Cup, 5 Nigerian descent are in there, doing very well. And mention the ones that just lost out to Germany yesterday, the under 21s. There's 2 Nigerians in there, Nigerian descent, and all these people, we are in close contact with them, following them, ensuring that, listen, we have a proper relationship with them and their parents, get them to understand that Nigeria is there for the World Cup, for any World Cup at all that you can actually represent Nigeria. So that's what we're actually here to do, and that's what we've been doing. And we've got, you know, so many players that we've actually, you know, also helped within the local clubs to get, you know, into a proper professional setting. And we're doing that with the independent academy that we have, and that is open to all countries. It's not just Nigerians. Any young people between the age of 7 and 17 are welcome to join them. We're not in charge. We're in charge of it. It is called TMUK FC Academy. It's an academy that we put together here, and also we will be opening 10 of its kind in Nigeria, in 10 different states, to help develop grassroots. And we've started that, and we believe in the next 5 years, it's going to be a different story altogether.
Right, okay, that's very interesting. But, well, there should be a Nigerian listening now in Glasgow or Birmingham or Bristol or Manchester, and probably their son or nephew or their friend's son is a good player. What chances do they have of playing for the Young Eaglets, the team that you manage here?
I think the chances are very, very clear. What they need to do is not just about playing for us. The whole idea is for them to play for Nigeria. All the ones that we're putting together here, the Nigerian Football Federation are aware of them. They know what is going on. What we're just doing is we're making sure we have the right legs from the age of 14, 15, 16, up to the age of 21, up to the Super Eagles. We work with everybody to put their name forward to the Nigerian Football Federation for them to be called into the squad. And you can see that happening. The likes of Ola, we put pressure, approach the parents, and you can see he has actually put himself through to the Super Eagles. You can see he's part of the team now, and everything is going on well. There's so many other big names that are still going to come into the folds of the Super Eagles. So we're also doing the same thing at the junior level, and we've managed to put that together with the Football Federation to tell them, can they have a quota for those outside the shores of Nigeria at the age group level, under 17. So anytime they have any international tournament, World Cup, African Cup of a junior age under 17, at least 4 minimum or 3 from Europe, from any part of Europe, based on merit, should be included in the list that we put together from those back home. So that's what we've been fighting for. For the past 1 year, we've been on it, and we believe the technical team will finally accept this offer and give us a room for we to put in players based on merit across various clubs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, a lot of talents out there coming up that people are yet to know.
All right, okay, now let's move on to this weekend's Africa Cup UK. What should people who are listening now, some people have never heard of the Africa Cup UK. We'll be talking to Mr. Lutaya, the secretary and media personnel for the tournament. But so far, you have won the Africa Cup UK with Nigeria's senior team and the under-17 team. So what have you got to offer this year?
Unfortunately, the junior side of the tournament, the team Nigeria UK, which is the Soaring Eaglets, are not going to be participating due to a lot of commitment that we've got on ground. Like I mentioned to you, we're going to be playing various academies, but we're still going to be there to support every country and look out for talents. We're going out there to look out for talents at under 17 and also at the senior level. In a way to see which ones can actually play in club side in Europe. So, and that's what the tournament is all about. It's not just about bringing African communities in diaspora together, but also for us to look at some potential talents that we could put forward for clubs in Europe and also in UK from the under 17 up to the senior level. So we're going to be there to show our support. We've been there throughout the trials for the Nigerian senior team. I was there on Saturday for their final game. They had a friendly game. So it's been a good preparation, and I believe all teams across the board are actually doing very well. And kudos to Ankuk, the African Nations Cup UK. They've been doing a wonderful job. This is a tournament that has been going on for the past 7 years, and this is the eighth year of its existence. And it's a tournament that needs more support more publications out there, so that more African people and African communities in the UK and across United Kingdom can also come out and be part of it.
Right, okay. Now, finally, obviously, before you go, I'm sure there are people here listening with us, and they'll probably want to get in touch with you either to bring their little son or boy to come and join your team, or furthermore, try and sponsor. Feel free to give out your email or telephone number.
Okay, I think one of the things that they can do is to follow us on IG. I'll give them a phone number. The phone number is 0744 811 2113. 0744 811 and then they can email us at teamnigeriauk@groupmail.com. But if they are not Nigerians and they want to give an opportunity for their young people, and they believe the young person is actually good enough, because there's another thing for a player to be good, but are they good enough for a professional level? And that's where we come in. So they can also email tnukfcacademy@groupmail.com, or they can follow them on Instagram, TNUKFC Academy, Twitter, TNUKFC Academy, Facebook, TNUKFC Academy. They're there to answer the questions. And if they need any support in terms of representation and management, they can also contact TNUK Sports MG. They are a management company that does represent players and support, give advice and all those things in terms of putting players into a right place. And we're not in charge of them. They're a separate entity apart from what we do. But if it is anything that has to do with Nigeria, they should just contact Team Nigeria UK. On Instagram, we're there, Team Nigeria UK. On Twitter, Team_Nigeria UK. And on Facebook, it's just Team Nigeria UK. So we're there, we're everywhere.
Right, okay, David, thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to speaking to you again on the Sports Corner. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chinode. Thank you so much. Do have a great day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, that was David Doherty, of course, showing us some love, or rather sharing his thoughts and opinions, especially on the Nigerian Football League. He's come up with some very, very valid points, that it's about facilities, and I asked him the question, what sort of facilities, and he mentioned that it's to do with training facilities. Well, still in Nigeria, before we wrap up and move to other countries, the Nigerian Football Federation, the NFF, says the Super Eagles would not use the performance by the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon at the ongoing FIFA Confederation Cup in Russia as a yardstick in rating them ahead of their World Cup qualifiers in August. The Eagles have a doubleheader with the Lions on the 28th of August in OU, with a return fixture 4 days later in Limbe. Cameroon, who are the African champions, were knocked out of the Confederation Cup in Russia on Saturday following a 3-1 defeat to Germany, existing with 1 point just from 3 matches. Well, speaking with Noble Radio TV, our correspondent said that Cameroon held no threat to Nigeria's qualification for the World Cup, but added that the Lions must not be rated based on their performance at the Confederation Cup. Well, that's the news, of course, coming in from Nigeria. I'm going to take another quick break. And, of course, when I return, we look at other various countries that are doing wonders in the world of football. Remember, the Sports Corner will be focusing on the African League in Africa. So we'll be touching on every region. So next week, we'll look at the Ghanaian League. And in North London, North London, I love North London, mind my French. North Africa as well, we'll look at another North African country, another Southern African country. So it's going to be ongoing because time is not always on our hand. But right now, time is with me, and that's why I'm going to take a quick break. Don't go away.
Special offer for all the Christians in United Kingdom by KGC, Kingdom Gift Center.
Kingdom Gift Centre, located at 208 Rye Lane, Peckham, London, SE154NL. We specialise in Christian gifts. We supply various things for churches like pulpits, anointing oil, olive oil, specially made from Jerusalem. And we have candlestands, crosses of all various shapes and sizes. We also have frames, Jesus frames. Everything that comes from KGC has got inspirational Bible inscriptions from jotters to journals, Bibles, cherubs, ornaments of angels, ornaments for pastors' wives. You can visit us on our website www.kingdomgiftcenter.co.uk. We look forward to seeing you, and God bless you.
Contact them on 0788 6488 168. Kingdom Gift Center. Special offer for all the Christians in United Kingdom by KGC, Kingdom Gift Center.
Kingdom Gift Center, located at 208 Rye Lane, Peckham.
Well, now time to look at North Africa. Of course, North Africa at one point in time was a region that most African countries found very difficult to beat. I remember the old 80s and 90s, you'd hear a football commentator saying, "This is typical North African football. They hold the ball at the back and catch you on the break." But then I remember somebody mentioning that when the offside trap was introduced, it became very difficult for North African countries that were very well known for delaying tactics, especially when they are playing away. But the moment they played at home, and you're talking of the Egyptians of this world, you're talking about the Moroccans of this world, the Tunisians of this world, the Algerians of this world, it was very, very difficult, to break them down at home. They would, attack like a swarm of bees coming for honey in Lagos or Accra or Lusaka or Harare. But then, football has all changed now. As we heard David Doherty, that, countries have stepped up their game. So now let's look at the Egyptian League. I'll start off firstly with the Egyptian head coach, Hector Cooper has named his 25-man squad for the Pharaohs' upcoming training camp ahead of the Togo friendly. We've got a caller, I think, on the line. We've got a caller on the line. We've got Danny Lutaya from the Africa Cup UK. Good afternoon, Danny. How are you today?
Good afternoon to you. Do you mind if we go straight to the point? Good afternoon to you, my great friend Chinode from Zambia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Danny. Let's get straight into it. It's 4 days before the UK Africa Cup of Nations. Tell us more. What should people expect? How have you gone with the preparations? Is everything set for Saturday?
Everything is set for Saturday, and we are really excited because we are seeing all the new entrants in the tournament. Liberia and Ghana Conakry, Guinea Conakry, they are really gearing up to see that they can tussle Ghana and they take away the title from Ghana. Whereas Uganda is also saying that they're going to be the victor. Zimbabwe is saying, no, we are taking this title for the Open Age away. It's going to be very interesting. I'm sure now they've been expecting only football, but we are having bouncing castles for young people. We are having the opening ceremony with the great ambassadors of Africa. I will not mention their names because of confidentiality, but we are having definitely ambassadors on the official opening, and we are having national anthems of our participating countries played, and photo shoots for all the participating teams. We are having music, we are having African food, so it's going to be a footy festival. I'm sure that those who turn up, the weather is going to be brilliant. And on top of that, we are expecting to see that we give special condolence, 5 minutes silence for our brothers and sisters who died in the Grenfell Tower in Kensington. We are great friends of our North African friends who really, most of the Moroccans, Egyptians live within that area, and they died in the tower. So we want to give them the respect before the tournament begins. And we are also
continue.
Go on.
No, continue. Okay, sorry. Continue.
We are calling the communities in the diaspora to come together on the day of the finals, because we are going to also have a special collection, donations for the people who are really struggling right now on the street. Imagine if the one who was living in that tower and you have nothing at all. So we are asking people who are coming to the finals, those who have got things to give away, they should come with them. We're going to have containers there to collect gifts for the people who have lost everything. So put yourself in their shoes. What would you do? So we as fellow Africans, we are trying to see that on the 15th of July, we do something special for our fellow brothers and sisters who lost all their savings, who lost their friends, who lost their family members. We remember them, and also we support those who are still living but with nothing.
Right. How many countries are participating this year, Daniel?
We are having 20 countries which are participating, and really, truly, I know you are the man who has got most of them on top of your head, but I'll read them for you. Botswana, Cameroon, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Liberia, Madagascar, Morocco, Nigeria, São Tomé, Príncipe, Sierra Leone, Somaliland, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
Right, okay, fantastic. Now, I know time is not with you, but then what about those that are wanting, or rather listening now, and they want to come and either sell their little goods or market their products or services? Is there still an opening, or you've closed the line to that?
There's still a chance, but they have to really come with their documents in the file, mainly healthy and safety certificate if they are selling food, and they have to have a form which they have to fill up there on the day, and I can have a copy. Then they have to pay £50 per day to be able to be part of the tournament and sell their stuff. Okay?
Right, okay. I mean, whilst you're still on the line, before I ask you to give the viewers and listeners the details for Saturday, you originate from Kenya, if I'm correct?
Yeah, I originate from Kampala, but those are my neighbors.
Oh, Kenya
from
or Kampala.
Uganda.
All right, okay. I was going to say that because this particular sports show is designated to look at football in the African local league. So we are looking at the Kenyan league today. How well do you know the Kenyan league?
Kenyan league, I've heard about it, but mainly I've not really gone deep down to research on it, because we want to see that they can come also and we sit down on the table, they work with us, because we are going to have something big which I cannot mention now. It's going to be starting 2019-2020 off season.
Right, okay, we'll let you go there because we don't want to be held liable if you give the wrong information. Right, feel free to give people the address for this coming Saturday, and of course it's free entry, people don't have to pay. So just give people details, how to get to Hackney Marshals.
Yeah, it is free for all. It is going to be Hackney Marshals, which is on Homerton Road, London E9 5PF. And how do you reach there? If you are taking a train, you have to use Hackney Homerton overground station, or if you are taking a tube, get off from Leighton tube station, then take W15, it brings you straight to Homerton Road. And those who are living nearby, obvious driving, you can drive here. We have free parking spaces, but limited numbers are available. So you have really to make sure that you come early enough so that you can be among those people who will be really having the spaces.
Right, what time does it start and what time does it end? Because, Africans, we've got this thing called African time, where we leave fashionably late, and we want to leave the place as well fashionably late. So what's the best time for people to get there, and what time do you close the gates?
The main time for arrival here to enjoy the official opening ceremony is going to be at 10 o'clock. Everyone must be there. 10 o'clock is going to be really African time. You don't need to come any minutes extra. Be there exactly at 10. Let us be in Rio GMT, not Ghana Meridian time. And when you come straight, look for Hackney Marshals East. You'll be able to see the official opening ceremony. You get the speeches from our ambassadors. You get the speeches from the Prostate Cancer UK. You listen to the speeches from the Terence Higgins Trust representative. And on the day, you're going to be really having an opportunity also to have private checkup for HIV if you need to, somewhere secretively. And those who want to know more about prostate cancer, men and women, we have to make sure that men are dying of prostate cancer. So we have to get the right information. All the information is going to be given out on Saturday. This Saturday is going to be huge, and also throughout all other days. But the first day is so important for people to be there on time and really enjoy and can see, get the right information. Knowledge is power, and understanding what is affecting our communities, it is so important. Then we go to the doctors from there. We take the action plans. And we are expecting also music from different members of the community, different DJs, and also presenters from different platforms. Like Mr. Chinode, I'm expecting to be one of the top people on the day. And we have Vision Representative Television. They're going to be there. We're going to have Ben TV obvious. We're going to have DJ Abbas. and other DJs from the diaspora. So it's going to be very interesting.
Right, okay. Well, Daniel, I don't want to take so much of your time, but as well, feel free to give out your telephone number in case people want to contact you. You know, sometimes people prefer not looking at the website or the details you've just given us, but then sometimes people might want to phone. Is there a telephone number that is open?
Telephone number people can reach me on is 0744335546.
Right, I can hear your other phone ringing. Okay, just give that number again slowly for us, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my brother, and I will speak soon. Thank you for giving us the opportunity and keeping on serving the community. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. I think he was rushing because the other phone was ringing. We live in a busy world. Well, you're still on the sports corner. Let's continue with the news on the Egyptian league. As I was saying earlier on, that the Egyptian head coach Hector Cooper has named his 25-man squad for the Pharaohs' upcoming training camp ahead of the Togo friendly. The camp will start on the 28th of July 2017, and the Africa Cup of Nations runners-up get ready to face Togo in a friendly match. Well, let's look at the Egyptian league, some of the results that I've got in front of me here. Very little football was played last weekend. I'll start off with the on Monday, where El Masari drew with Smocha to the tune of 1-1. And as well, we move on to Saturday, last week Saturday as well, the 24th of June 2017. El Entang El Habi were beaten 1-0 by Smocha, and the Al Hali drew 2-2 with NP. Al Hali is one of the richest clubs in Africa. So many players that are playing here in Europe. When they can't break into Europe, that's one of the clubs they run to, because they do pay a very fat paycheck. And of course, on Friday the 23rd, that's last week, Nasra Taden beat El Shakia to the tune of 2-1. And Tanta drew 0-0 with Wadi Degla, and El Itad drew 1-1 as well with El Masri. And of course, that's the Egyptian league. Before we look at the Kenyan league, I'd like to ask you viewers and listeners that would like to interact with us this afternoon on the Sports Corner on Noble TV, Noble Radio, to call us on 07415 063 960. I repeat, 07415 063 960. Feel free to call us regarding what we've discussed this afternoon, and that's the Nigerian league. We had a very fantastic caller, David Doherty, who spoke highly on the way forward in strengthening football in Africa, and he spoke on behalf of Nigeria. And just not long ago, we spoke to Daniel Lutaya, who is the marketing manager and media director for the Africa Cup of Nations UK. If you are interested in that tournament, you'd like to go there and watch your country, or you're a friend of Africa watching this program this afternoon, feel free to call us as well on 07 415 063 960. Your contribution is very valid. My producer was just mentioning to me off mic that why is it that I mentioned one of Africa's biggest and inspiring entrepreneur, Aliko Dangote, that why hasn't he invested or bought a big football club in Nigeria, or even a League Two club, and pumping money like he's the Abramovich of Africa? Should we call him that, or should we just call him his Dangote in his own class? But there are, of course, other Nigerian successful companies and successful entrepreneurs. Why haven't they invested in a big club, by a big club. Just not long ago, I was reading that there was a Nigerian businessman that decided to buy a second division Portuguese club, but with the aim of linking it with a Nigerian club. So what's your thoughts? Please interact with us. 07 415 063 960 is the number to dial. Give us a call and tell us why you think, not just in Nigeria, but just all over Africa, why some entrepreneurs, we go back to Angola, where there is one of the president's daughter who is a multi-billionaire in dollars. And wasn't she invested as well in clubs like Libolo FC of Angola? Why are these millionaires not investing? Are we going to wait for a foreign investor to come in one day and buy our clubs, and we'll be sat there in our backyards talking our usual African talk, which I enjoy? I know you enjoy it as well. When we talk of the corruption in Africa, how difficult it is to get by in Africa. Not if we don't realize, we might be talking, why are foreigners buying our football clubs and making money out of our players? So tell us by calling us now on 07 415 063 960. Would like to interact. If you're too shy to talk to us on Noble Radio, Noble TV, drop us a WhatsApp on the same number, 07 415 063 960 is the number to dial. I hope you've enjoyed so far on the program, where we've tackled different African countries. We just spoke about Egypt now. Of course, Egypt is one of the most competitive countries in Africa in terms of football. As I mentioned, that every week we will look at a different African country from a different region. So next week we'll touch on another West African country, another North African country, another East African country, and of course another Southern African country. So the rotation will go on nowhere else but on radio and TV that matters, and that's Noble TV and Noble Radio. Remember, our aim on this program is to try and give you as much information from Africa. That's the local African league. I remember growing up as a young man in Africa. I think I enjoyed watching the African leagues just as much as I enjoy watching the Premiership. There's another question I think that I would like to bring to the listeners is stadiums used to be filled in Africa back in the days. When I've spoken to people in West Africa, North Africa, they say stadiums used to be filled. But with the improvement of the English Premiership, you rarely see stadiums even half full. You know, it's like you're here in South London, you go to Burgess Park, it's just people sat there. Probably it's just family and friends, very close friends, watching these leagues. Why is it that clubs now, or local clubs now, are not filling up? Is it bad management? Give us a call on 07 415 063 960 and share your thoughts and opinions. Well, the option is yours. You could also drop us a WhatsApp on the same number, 07 415 063 960, or you'd like to come on live in the studio as a guest. Feel free as well to drop me a text on or dial me on this number, 07 415 063 960. Right, I'll take a quick break, and when I come back, the sports corner continues. Stay where you are.
It's gonna be a swell time.
Yeah.
What's up, people?
We're at Jai Paso.
Paso Jai.
It's gonna be loud in the UK, Dagenham, 14th of July.
Don't miss it.
Presenting Jai Kuti live in Dallas in Uluri Amolegbe and Oromi. Be there.
Presenting Jai Kuti, Oromi, and Uluri Amolegbe live in Indiana, July 30th.
My mainland people, man, it's all about Jai Kuti, Uluri Amolegbe, and Oromi. Don't miss it.
It's gonna be a swell time.
Yeah.
What's up, people?
We're at Jai Paso.
Paso Jai.
It's gonna be loud in the UK, Dagenham, 14th of July.
Don't miss it.
Presenting Jai Kuti live in Dallas in Uluri Amolegbe.
And we have candlestands, crosses of all various shapes and sizes. We also have frames, Jesus frames. Everything that comes from KGC has got inspirational Bible inscriptions from jotters to journals, Bibles, cherubs, ornaments of angels, ornaments for pastors, ornaments for pastors' wives. You can visit us on our website www.kingdomgivecenter.co.uk. We look forward to seeing you, and God bless you.
Contact them on 0788 6488 168. Kingdom Gift Center. Special offer, special offer, special offer for all the Christians in United Kingdom by KGC, Kingdom Gift Center.
Kingdom Gift Center, located at 208 Rye Lane, Peckham, London, SE154NL. We specialize in Christian gifts. We supply various things for churches like pulpits, anointing oil, olive oil, specially made from Jerusalem. And we have candlestands, crosses of all various shapes and sizes. We also have frames, Jesus frames. Everything that comes from KGC has got inspirational Bible inscriptions from jotters to journals, Bibles, cherubs, ornaments of angels, ornaments for pastors, ornaments for pastors' wives. You can visit us on our website www.kingdomgivecenter.co.uk. We look forward to seeing you, and God bless you.
Contact them on 0788 6488 168. Kingdom Gift Center. Special offer, special offer, special offer for all the Christians in United Kingdom by K.
O bet pẹ̀lú mọ́tò wọ́n gba mọ́tò mọ́ ẹ lọ́wọ́.
Sórí tí èmi náà bá wá dàgbà tí mo dògbò tí mo rebi àgbáre ọmọ mi ló máa tún jọ ga ẹ̀.
Kẹ́mi mọ̀ sí gbogbo jẹnẹrétọ̀ yín.
Ṣé mo kí dáàdi yín tẹ̀ ń tẹnu mọ́ yìí? Ṣé mo kí wọ́n ti sọ pé wọ́n ti gbéyàwó sílé? Kí ni assurance pé kò ń ṣe àjẹkún ìyàlẹ́ fẹ́ lọ jẹ́ ń bẹ̀?
Láyé mo ṣàfẹ́ lọlé bàbá.
Ó nílé mi ò gbọ́dọ̀ àlà ọlọ́run bẹ̀rẹ̀ àbùrùgbọ́lọ̀ yá mi àbẹ̀rẹ̀ ajímọ̀jẹ̀ nǹkan tó lè gbé ní yá mi àbẹ̀rẹ̀ méjì borí ìtẹ̀ ní kùtù àì.
My dear, Ìyá Ṣọlá ni.
Ìyá Ṣọlá rè. Does that mean pé ẹ̀yin náà lẹ bí eléyìí àbí àwọn ló bí fún yín?
Irú question wo nìyẹn? Anyway, ọkọ mi ni mo bí òun fún. Ṣọlá ni mo bí fún bàbá Ṣọlá.
Ó bẹ̀ ta.
Ẹ wo, má jàjà.
I'm sorry if I'm trespassing. I'm sorry if you're getting it wrong. But I just felt I should talk to you. Bóyá àbá mi máa wọlé.
Èmi náà sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́. Mo sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Yes, wọ́n ẹ̀yẹ́ mẹ́wàá ní ti ẹ gbélé gbọ́mà. Dákun sọ ọjọ́ tí sọ́mọ pé wèrè lọ́jọ́.
Àmójọ́ wọn ẹ wojú mi ẹ wò.
Stand up and define photosynthesis for me.
Photosynthesis can be defined as the photosynthesis can be defined as the
Mrs. Owode, let her talk.
class, they will be laughing at me.
Kéèyàn rí ojú tó ṣe rétérété báyìí tí gbogbo ẹ̀ tó dúró kó má admire.
Really? In fact, that's so funny. This will be the first time Timaro being ẹgbẹ́ mi tó máa tó sí mi.
Really?
Yeah.
Kò sí nǹkan tó bá jùlọ kéèyàn rí nǹkan kó dẹ̀ appreciate ẹ̀.
Abio, you're right.
Ṣé ẹ máa mind kí lorúkọ yín?
My name is Feromi Richard Adams.
Wow, what a beautiful name. Ọ̀rẹ́ Olúwa lorúkọ ti.
Wow, nice name. My pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, so.
So, what can I do for you, please?
What can I do for you? Go home.
Who is she looking for?
Shut the fuck up.
Sports corner. Well, let's move on to Zambia and find out from Lois Walia on what's been happening with the Zambian League. Good afternoon there, Lois. How are you today? Hello? Hi, how are you, Lois? Hello? Hello? Yeah, hi. Can you hear me, Lois?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, hi. Welcome to the Sports Corner on welcome to the Sports Corner here on Noble Radio TV. Tell us what's happening with the Zambian League, man. I've just been reading that Zesco were beaten in the CAF Champions League. Zanaco faced Al Hilal of Egypt this weekend, and the Zambia national team is away in the Kosovo tournament. Tell us more. What's been happening with the what's been happening with the Zambian League?
Actually, the Zesco game is in the Confederation Cup. Then Zanaco, they are playing the CAF Champions League on Saturday up against Al Hilal of Egypt. And the game is at Hero Stadium right there. And then this team, they have traveled to Egypt to face again an Egyptian club. And then the Zambian local league on Saturday, we are again playing against Napo Stars. And of course, Saturday no more up against Zanaco game. I think it's postponed because of Zanaco participating in the CAF Champions League game. Of course, the Zambia national team, they are traveling for SAFA Senior Challenge tournament, which is the senior or Libya in South Africa. I can give you the full update.
Yes, give us the full update. That's what we want to hear. We'd like to hear the full update. Hello? Did we just lose him there? Well, we'll try and call him back. We're still talking football here. Just trying to flip my iPad here. Let's see what the Zimbabweans are trying to say there. Let's try and see if we can get back to Lois Walia on. We could just get back to Lois Walia. Of course, he was giving us an update. Lois is actually in Zambia itself. So, yes, Lois, sorry, we got cut off there. Yes, continue. You're going to give us an update.
Yeah. And then there is Nkana up against the let me get the full update in a minute, please.
All right, we'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you, Lois. Let's just try and get hold of Mr. Marshall Gore here in the UK, who is the chairperson for the Africa Cup UK. And he is also representative of the Zimbabwean UK team. Of course, we've got Marshall. Hi, we've got Marshall Go. You are live on radio, Marshall. Before you say hello to me as a friend, let's say hello to the viewers and listeners.
Good evening, viewers
viewers, and good evening, all the participants tuning in tonight.
Right, okay, Marshall, this is the Sports Corner. Our aim for this show is to try and report to viewers in diaspora about what's happening in the local leagues in Africa. So today we're looking at Nigeria, we're looking at Kenya, Egypt, and we're just speaking to somebody on the ground in Zambia, but you are very in touch with the Zimbabwean League. How's the Zimbabwean League doing right now?
The Zimbabwean League has started very well.
Yeah.
Hello, Chino?
Yeah, I'm here. We're here with you. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. I can hear you clearly. I'm sure.
Okay, that's good. The Zimbabwe League has started very clearly. I think we are in. If I'm correct, we are in week. I think we are in week 5 now, where the majority of the teams have played about 15 games at this stage. The former champions, Dynamo, seem to have revived their fortunes now. So I think they're on top of the league now, followed by Platinum and Highlanders. But again, we have to be mindful that Cape United Football Club, who are actually the 2016 champions, have been bogged down with Champions League games. So they've got 5 games in hand because they've been focusing mainly on the Champions League.
Right, fantastic. I've heard so much about Caps United. What makes them stand out? Is it they're well paid, they've got the right facilities? What makes them stand out in the Zimbabwean League?
I think it has been consistent. I think in the last 3 years ago, they disbanded their team and started on a new program of playing a lot of under 21 players. So they've been successful. It seems like that team, which they started 3 years ago, composing mainly of under 21 players, has actually produced results. Now most of them have matured. They've been playing together for the last 3 years now. So they won the championship last year, and they're in a very difficult Champions League group. They've been doing okay but compared with the teams that are in their group. They've got massive giants in there, playing against Zamalek and Usma of Algeria and Ali Ali of Tripoli. So I think they've won 1 game out of 3, and they've got 2 more remaining fixtures. If they win their last 2 games, they'll finish with 9 points and in contention to go to the quarterfinals. So it's been a baptism of fire, but at the same time positive as well, that we are still talking of them in round 4, that they still have a chance to finish in the quarterfinals. So I think they've tremendously achieved given the squad that they have by African standards.
Right, okay. I was speaking to a colleague of yours earlier on, David Doherty. He was giving me an update on the Nigerian League, and we touched on some very good points. For example, the first one we spoke about was what are the facilities that are needed to improve on the Nigerian League. So the same question to you, what facilities do you think Zimbabwean football is lacking both at grassroots and senior level?
I think I think we need to look at it in 2 ways. That the facilities are also determined by the investment that has been put in football at government level and from corporate level as well. When we look at Zimbabwe, for example, we haven't had the renaissance which you guys have had in Zambia, where in the last 5 years you've seen the development of 2, if not 3, new stadiums in different provinces. In Zimbabwe, that hasn't happened. Maybe largely due to the current state of the economy of the country, that there are more priorities than football. So in terms of stadium development, we haven't had much fortune. I think we last had stadium renovations in 2000 and I think in 2000 when we were bidding to host the Africa Cup of Nations. Then that's when our facilities had a slight facelift. But we haven't had new stadium developments. We have had private companies that have come into football. For example, Platinum Football Club that are owned by Platinum and Platinum Mine. They've developed their own 10,000-seater stadium. We've got Ngezi Platinum, another mining team that has come into the new fold, they've developed their own football stadia. But these are private entities that have come into football and developed their own stadia. Another one is also Yada, a new team that has recently been promoted. I think they've renovated Morris Depot, the previous owned police ground stadium, into league status. So those are the developments at the moment. There hasn't been any huge funding at national stadium or local authority level to renovate some of the stadiums that are owned by the local authority or the city council. Stadiums like Rufaro Stadium in Harare, it's owned by the city council. Baba Fields again in Bulawayo, it's owned by the city council. Bandura Stadium is owned by the city council. So lack of funding in our local authorities has prohibited or inhibited progress in terms of stadium development, largely also due to inactivity in terms of government funding to sport. So we are not enjoying the luxurious stadium that perhaps maybe our neighbors Zambia are enjoying and South Africa in comparison. So yes, we are a bit behind in terms of infrastructure development.
Yeah, but Marshall, what puzzles me here, in media is I read so much. I asked David Doherty of Nigeria the same question. I mean, I read so much about these rich billionaires in Nigerians. I've read so much about these rich billionaires in Zimbabwe that drive big cars. They've got houses like a hospital. Why don't they buy the Bulawayo Highlanders, the Caps United? Why are these rich people buying these clubs in Zimbabwe? Or the other question is, why can't 4 millionaires put their money together and buy a club as a consortium, like we've seen the Abramovich do it in Europe? We've seen the Arabs are doing the same, the Chinese. Why can't we do that in Africa? Or why can't Zimbabweans do that? Because Zimbabwe is one of the most productive Southern African country where business is concerned. Why are they not taking that direction?
I think the problem you have is the mechanization in terms of the setup of the traditional clubs. Clubs like perhaps maybe club like Power Dynamos in Zambia, and in Ghana Red Devils, and the Highlanders and the Dynamos. These are community football clubs that have got strong links into community structures that own them. So to break that barrier and bring in an investor like Abramovich, it doesn't work, because that community, the Mbare community, which is called the Dimbare Diehard, they believe that they own Dynamo. So for you, if me and you take our million today and say we want to own Dynamo, they'll think that we want to own them. You know what I mean? So they would want you to invest money into the club, but they continue to retain some form of shareholding. For them to relinquish it and to privatize it, it hardly works. But I'll give you a very good example that we have had. We have a gentleman called Farai Jere. He bought Caps United from the pharmaceutical company that used to own Caps United. Actually, he bought it from a guy called Twine Piri, who bought the franchise when the pharmaceutical company was struggling to support football. Jere has invested almost close to $3 million into the football club itself. And the growth rate in terms of the output of percentage for investment capital and output in Africa is still lacking. This is where our models of football development in Africa need to be looked at as well, because what tends to happen here, if you put in an investment into the club, you reap what you sow. You publish the facility, you have more fan base, the clubs are more commercialized with TV revenue. But in Africa, it's the opposite. The money that Zimbabwe Premier League generates from SuperSport, for example, is not adequate enough to support Caps United to fund their African club champion tours that they are doing. The gate takings that Caps collect, again, is not good enough to support them to their development into progressing and sustainability. So even Jerry, after investing $3 million into a football club in Zimbabwe, the club is still not profitable. So we need to look at our football models. Are the funds supporting the club? Is the economy conducive enough to look at these things? But again, you are right to say that there are so many rich people that can own football club. A very good example is Yada Football Club, a new football club, a franchise that was bought by a household prophet in Zimbabwe called Prophet Magaya. He bought a Division 2 club franchise and named it Yada after his own church. He has put in a huge investment into the club, and the club is now in the Premier League. It's got its own training facility, and is looking at developing its own stadium. So that's a very good example of showing to say that it's very difficult to own the household clubs, But to go and buy a franchise and start afresh, it's very easy. That's why we are struggling now with our fellow loved clubs like Dynamos, Islanders, Ghana Red Devils, and Core Dynamos. That they don't attract investment because of the mechanization of the composition of how they're set up.
Right, okay. Now, moving on to your national team, the Warriors of Zimbabwe. They put up a good fight in the last Africa Cup of Nations. How do you see them coming up in the next 2 to 3 years?
We've had a positive start of the qualifiers, the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. We are in a tough group with the two Congo countries, Congo Brazzaville and DRC Congo, and Liberia, and I think Liberia and Guinea. We had a good start. We beat Liberia 3-0 at home. So it's happy times. It's happy times again. Our local best squad, composed of local best players, is currently in South Africa participating in the COSAFA Cup. We beat Mozambique in our first game 4-0, and today we are playing Madagascar. I'll be following up on the results against Madagascar. So I have to say, I think we are in revival at the moment. You know, the mood is buoyant after the Liberia game and the 4-0 trouncing of Mozambique in the COSAFA Cup. The Warriors are roaring, and they're back again in forge to state their claim in Southern African football. So it's happy time for the Zimbabwe national team.
Right, okay, and finally, I believe you're still the chairperson of the Africa Cup UK?
Yeah, I'm the chairperson of the African Football Association, which is now the organization that owns the African Nations Cup UK.
Okay, and obviously as chairperson, you've come a long way. Firstly, here at Noble Radio, I would like to say hats off for the commendable job that you've done to help grassroots football here in the diaspora, and as well put up one of the biggest African community events, probably not just in the UK but in Europe. You know, you hardly see pockets of Africans get together. You find that Zimbabweans will be with Zambians, Nigerians with Ghanaians, but this is like a whole continent in one venue. We spoke to Danny Lutaya earlier on, and he gave us some very positive feedback. Tell us more about this weekend's opening ceremony.
Oh, this weekend's opening ceremony is promising to be exciting. We continue to grow as an organization, and the tournament obviously has been running for the past 9 years now. So we expect a huge turnout of the huge presence of African ambassadors to turn up. We have a delegation from the London FA. We have also various community leaders from the different African communities that are in the UK. They will also be coming to embrace us. So we're expecting a huge turnout of the communities. As you have explained, the African Nations Cup UK is one of the biggest community football tournaments in the UK, according to the FA. So it's an achievement for us as a community, as African people, to be able to stage such a huge football extravaganza. So I can only call upon the listeners that are listening, that are from Africa, that please come in numbers, wear your national colors, come and support your team. This is an event, a family event. Focus is more on us as Africans coming together for the purpose of good community cohesion and exchanging our culture. So it's a feast of football and a friendly occasion where we get to interact, where you get to see 28 African countries interacting and exchanging culture and getting to know each other. You know, it's a place where business can come out of. It's a place where talented players can be scouted by Premier League scouts. We're expecting a lot of Premier League scouts to turn up. So it's an occasion pregnant with a lot of exciting opportunities for the youngsters and for the crowd that will come to enjoy a good day out with family in London. So we are calling upon all different nationalities to come and support us, please.
Right, okay, thank you so much, Marshall. We'll catch up on Saturday, and if you're lucky, I'll buy you a pint, or if you don't drink alcohol, I'll buy you a meal. Thank you for that contribution.
Thank you for having me on the program, Chinode. Let this not be the last time.
No, we need updates every week from different African countries, so we'll definitely call you at some point. The producer is nodding his head here saying yes. we need to call this man. So you've done a good job. Thank you for contributing.
Thank you so much, and God bless you and all the listeners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that's Marshall Go, the chairperson of the Africa Cup UK. He originates from Zimbabwe. Very passionate about African football. He is a former goalkeeper as well for one of the competitive Zimbabwean local football leagues. I'm just still trying to see if we can get our colleague who is based in Lusaka, Zambia, to give us another update on the league in Zambia. Is quite very difficult with the internet connectivity, but then we'd like to say salute to ACON for producing at least internet for 600 million Africans. Well, we can't get hold of our colleague there, but well, finally, let me just quickly look at the Kenyan league as well. The Kenyan league as well is very competitive. It's a very competitive league. Start off by saying that Sofapaka on Sunday recorded their 6th win this season with a 2-0 win over Gor Mahia in a league match staged at the refurbished Meru Stadium. Goals by Ezekiel Okare, a new signing. Timothy Luda handed Gor Mahia their 3rd defeat of the season that toppled them from the summit of the league standings to 2nd place. With a point away to Kariobangi, Shanks on Sunday, defending champions Tusker, took command of the league with 1 point advantage over Gor Mahia, who dropped to 2nd position with 27 points. With 8 matches played last weekend, they were a record 6 draws, with only Chemel 2 winners over Nausea United, and Sofapaka picked a maximum of 3 points. And of course, the Sunday results in the Kenyan Football League: Ulinzi Stars won, Sonia Sugars won, and the match was played at Afraga Stadium. And in another exciting match, Kariobangi Sharks 0, Tusker United 0, and the match was played at the Kenyatta Stadium, named after the former Kenyan president Kenyatta, and his son is the current Kenyan president. Well, let's move on to football. Kamenga Homeboys 3, Zukeriko 3. The match was played at Mumias Sports Complex. Sofapak 2, Gor Mahia 0, a match I just mentioned during my opening. And this match was played at Kinoru Stadium. Bandari finally 0, Western Sitima 0, and the match was played at the Baraki Sports Club. Well, that's of course all from the African football fraternity, and this is African leagues in Africa. We started off the program by looking at the Nigerian league, the Egyptian league, the Kenyan league. We tried to catch up with the Zambian league, but unfortunately we had internet connectivity glitches. But then to compensate, we spoke to Marshall Go of Zimbabwe, who is based here in the UK and is chairperson of the Africa Cup UK, who gave us a very, very good update on the Zimbabwean League. And we also spoke to Daniel Lutaya, who is the marketing director and media coordinator for the Africa Cup UK. Well, the Africa Cup UK kicks off this weekend in London at the Hackney Marshalls. Details you could always check out on the our website, which is www.noblepeoplemedia.org, or you can simply call 07424 207 882 if you would like details on how to get to Hackney Marshalls. My geography is not that good on the train because I enjoy driving, but then I can always call 07424 207 882 to know more about the Africa Cup UK. Hey, if you want to increase some income, there's 20 countries, as you had, I beg your pardon, 28 countries this year. So it's a very good sport to go and sell some goodies, sell some crafts, sell some drinks, whatever kind of business, or networking as well. If you are an accountant, a lawyer, probably carry your business cards and you could go and give them out. That's the whole purpose of the tournament. Well, that's it from the Sports Corner this week. I am John Chinode. Don't forget to catch me again next week for another edition of the Sports Corner. Keep watching other programs on Noble Radio TV that we've got lined up for the rest of the week. Remember, Noble TV, Noble Radio is there to cater for your needs 24/7. Well, for now, I would like to pull up the string and pull the plug and say enjoy the rest of the week. It's a lovely weather out there, so keep cool and goodbye.